All right, so we're gonna get started here. I'm doing 2 lessons today, which means we're not gonna do any homework. So you guys just read through page 32 to 37. Well, some of it anyway. We're gonna go through the PowerPoint, and then we have 3 different videos. There it beeped, a little delayed there. So we're gonna,
like a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna watch through this osmosis video. We're gonna go through how surface area works with cell size, and then we're going to watch this video about ATP. We're not going to watch the entire 13-minute video. We're only going to watch about the first half because it goes into pretty complicated
why does it sound like
content.
someone's phone is going to mute?
Yeah, whatever that vibrating noise is, it's a little irritating. Okay, let's get started. I didn't need to open that. Okay. So lesson 1.2.4, cell energy. So go ahead, if you haven't already, get that written down at the top of your notes. So lesson 1.2.4, and cell energy. Cell energy. Okay. So, like we usually do, got a warm-up question for you. So do cells create energy? Kind of says the answer there from Mr. Albert Einstein. Can someone give me a hint? Since I kind of gave you the answer.
That
Ian?
is true. Yeah.
So do cells create energy? They do? Really? It says that in what? This title doesn't say cells create energy.
I have a really good way of explaining it.
William? Sure. Make it quick though, because we got 2 lessons to go through.
So take the dial of ramp right here.
Yep.
On skateboard. And
Okay.
he goes on this. This is
Kinetic. Yep.
Yeah.
Kinetic energy. Yep. He has potential when he's just standing there, but once he's going.
Up here, he's in the air.
Nice.
That's
Potential energy.
So that proves that it changes from one form to another.
It changes forms. That's a really good way of putting it. Yes, cell energy, it changes forms. So cell energy is not created. We cannot go. There we go. So we cannot create energy. Energy is already here. It is not created, and it is not destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. That's just like what William was saying with potential energy and kinetic energy, which we talked about in physical science last year. Yeah, Courtney. Yes, that's what I was about to say. When he's just sitting at the very top of that ramp, he has the potential to move, but he's not moving, so that's potential energy. Once he starts going down the ramp, then he has energy. Same thing if you're sitting on a swing set. When you're sitting on the swing, you have the potential to start swinging, so that's potential energy. Once you start moving, then you are now in motion. But once you pause up at the top, you have potential energy. Once you start moving, you just keep going. Yeah, Madeline?
Like a boat, or if anyone's been on the Eagle.
The what?
Eagle, the screaming Eagle.
Oh, is that a ride?
It's a different one. It's called the Eagle.
Okay.
It's not actually in Oregon.
Okay.
It's in California. Kind of exactly like Screaming Eagle. It's
Okay.
a clock, but they literally throw you around like this.
Yeah.
And then they're stuck.
Yeah.
They just throw you around and they're stuck.
Yep.
Randomly.
Right. Yep. That's cool. Okay. So get this one finished, written up. So do cells create energy? Short answer, no. Why? Because energy can't be created or destroyed. It only changes forms. So it changes from, for example, potential energy to kinetic energy, then from kinetic to potential. Yeah, Evan.
My last thing reminds me when I
Yeah.
I think it was because I rode this Eagle ride and you start like finding the V up here and you're just sitting up on it and Eagle dashes down.
Yeah, so when you're sitting at that one place, when you're paused there, you have the potential to move, and then once you start moving, you're moving. So that's your energy there. It's a good example too. Okay, so cellular respiration. This one's a little bit of a long one, but this is the longest slide out of all of them. I try to make them all short. Cellular respiration. So for the first one, you are going to write what the definition of cellular respiration is. So what is the definition there? Yes, Madeline.
The breaking down of food and into
Yeah. Yes. So the breaking down of energy, and once it is broken down, you are able to use that energy. Good. So once, for example, food, when you break down your food when you eat it, you are now able to use that energy in some way, whether it's for moving, whether it's just for you sitting here and taking notes, even sleeping, you need a certain amount of energy. Because you need food, water, sleep, all these different things as we went through earlier in the year to survive. So energy versus ATP versus cellular respiration. Has anyone heard of ATP before? No?
ATP.
Yeah, ATP, yeah, not the same thing at all, but yeah. So ATP, that's actually something if anyone gets into any kind of physical science, so any kind of science where you're going to be exerting energy, that is where you're going to be working with ATP a lot. And then even if you're working with any kind of food, ATP is very common. So if you're getting into the health field, you're going to know what ATP is. So ATP, it stands for adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. Jaden, you taking notes over there? Or did you write all this down already? Okay, try and get some of the other stuff like ATP written down, at least what it stands for, because ATP is very important. Okay, so it stores and releases energy for many cellular processes. So ATP, you're able to store energy. So when you eat something, you are taking the energy from that food, bless you, you're taking the energy from that food and your body is storing it to use for later. That's why some people, has anyone heard of carb loading before a workout? It's like before you do some kind of sporting event or anything physical, some people will eat a bunch of carbs, like eat a bunch of spaghetti before you do something. It's good before an event because you're needing all of that energy to work out. Spaghetti isn't necessarily the best thing anymore because now there's all of these different protein shakes, all these different things that you can substitute instead of spaghetti, which spaghetti isn't the best thing for you. So you're getting all that energy to exert yourself in some kind of big activity. Yeah, Ian. No. It depends when you eat it and when, it all depends. If you eat too much, yeah, your body will reject it if you eat too much. So, right, that's why they say before you swim, you gotta wait like, what is it, a half hour? Yeah, so half hour technically, but it's still a good recommendation because you still can, it's still not great for you because you can cramp up, other things can happen, but it technically is a myth. Cells use cellular respiration to convert energy into a form that they can use. So cellular respiration, that is the process of converting energy into a form that your body can use. So cellular respiration, you are converting energy. And then lastly, some energy is stored in a molecule. So ATP, it also is, you're able to store the energy within ATP to use for later. Yes, Evan. Yeah, all fruit would work well, especially since they are high in sugar. So you're still going to need different types of food. That's why you want to have a balanced, nutritious meal, because if you're just eating a bunch of fruit, you're only going to get some nutrients, and you need nutrients from all different types of food. Peanut butter, yep. Just, again, not too much. Yeah.
Most of my morning days for breakfast, I have some side of some bacon or something.
That's awesome.
And then some grapes.
Nice. That's a really good nutritious breakfast.
I work a lot.
Eggs are really good for you.
I make it.
Especially when they're running.
High in protein.
I The yellow stuff is just that, the white stuff.
I love it. I basically, I make one of
Only once or twice for eggs? Okay. Yeah. Did they say why you can't eat very many? No, they just said don't. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Oatmeal and blueberries.
That's another high fiber meal. Yes.
Almond.
That is Yep.
Almond milk.
with apples and cinnamon.
I love using almond.
That is bomb.
The bomb.
So good.
Did you literally just say that? The bomb?
I said it's bomb. I didn't say it's the bomb. I said it's bomb.
That trend.
I'm on the trends. I'm trendy.
We're in school.
Almond.
Oh, true. Good point. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so here's an example of what an ATP molecule is.
You have to draw that?
No, don't draw it. So right here, we have adenosine triphosphate. So just right there in this, triphosphate. What do you think that means from taking physical science last year? How many phosphate do you think there are molecules?
Oh.
Yeah, Logan, three molecules because it says tri in front of it. That's why if you see if it was diphosphate, it would be 2, or monophosphate, or just saying phosphate, there would be 1 phosphate molecule. So right over here, this is where we have the 3 phosphate molecules. So there's a P right here for phosphate, there's a P right here for phosphate, and a P right here for phosphate. So this is a higher level science. I'm not expecting you to know what this is, but this is, I love chemistry. So I like showing that and trying to connect everything for you guys. Huh? Yeah, cooking isn't chemistry.
I know how to do
Yep.
chemistry then.
Okay, enzymes. Enzymes, this is an important one to have. So enzymes, they are proteins that act as catalysts. So what do these catalysts do? They help speed up the reaction. So an example of what these enzymes are doing and where they are reacting, they help in digestion. So they help you digest things faster. Absorption. Does anyone know what that is, absorption? Yeah, Madeline? Yeah, pretty much you are absorbing the nutrients from different things. And then respiration, do we know what that is? Anyone give me an example of that? You got a guess? That's more absorbing. Yeah, Logan, what do you got? Like breathing, yeah, like breathing. Yep, that would be an example of respiration, or like sweating. Exercise, so helping you get nutrients, and then once you use those nutrients, they are expelled. So once you've used those nutrients, they're gone. Now you need to, that's why after you work out, you're usually pretty hungry and pretty thirsty because you just used up a lot of different enzymes and a lot of energy. So you need to reload for the next time you do some kind of activity, even if it's just something as sitting. Yeah, Ellen. Like, yeah, hot yoga, that would, right? Yep. Yep. With hot yoga, yeah, you're getting out a lot of water, so you need to then drink a lot of water after that.
Even though literally calories burn.
You can lose a lot of calories, but hot yoga is also very dangerous because if you don't have enough water in your system, you can pass out because you're losing a lot of water out of your body. And if you lose a lot, if you lose too much, then you can pass out because your body is saying, no, I'm done. I need to rest. You're doing too much. I don't have enough energy for this. Yeah, William.
This is maybe off topic, but you guys don't ever go to because my mom got cancer on that.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of tanning beds either. They can cause bad things to happen. And then reproduction is also another form of us needing enzymes. Yeah. And tanning bed, so you know how you can get tan just from being under the sun? Yeah, so there are places where you can go into this big long tube where it is sending radiant energy onto you to become tan.
Yeah.
So you have a darker skin color.
Cancer in her arm.
Yeah.
Like giant coffee.
It is better to get a spray tan. Become orange.
I like sauna.
Oompa Loompa.
Look like an Oompa Loompa, yeah. All right, you guys got enzymes? Okay, let's keep cruising through this. We're doing good so far. Okay, we're gonna go through, this is the video that I was saying that we're only gonna go through about half of it because it's a pretty long video and it gets into some pretty complicated content, but you can always watch the rest of it later on Google Classroom if you'd like to on your free time. That's how you know that is some high level stuff. Okay, now we're on to lesson 1.2.5. We got about, what, 20 minutes to get through this? We got till 9:50. Yeah, so we got about 20 minutes to get through this, and I think we will. Yeah, I should set the timer. We will have math, yes. So once we get through this, we're going to do math. All right. You always do fun things in math, Bethy. Come on. All right. So 1.2.5, cell transport. Okay. So cell transport. So why can marine organisms survive in the ocean? Because they live there? How do they live there, though? That's what we're trying to dive deep into.
Oh, you're so funny.
Thanks, Abby. Evan?
So, this is part of it is about animals.
Mhm.
Animals need air almost, especially the ones
Yep.
that live in the ocean or water. So what they do is every couple of hours they come up, take a deep breath,
Mm-hmm.
and come back down. For sharks and fish and other things in the ocean that are
Yeah.
not mammals, when bubbles are hanging around in the water,
Mm-hmm.
they will collect the bubbles.
They
so
do.
Have air.
Yep. Yep. That's one way. How about when there's a bunch of salt in the water? Like in the ocean, there's a lot of salt water.
Yeah.
What do they do to, how can they survive with all that salt? Because if we tried to, let's say we put a goldfish, which usually breathe fresh water. What would happen to that goldfish if we put it in a saltwater tank? Courtney?
It would die.
It would die.
It's,
And so how can, let's say, Mr. Nemo here, how can Nemo and all of his friends, how can they survive in the ocean, Madeline?
Well, he has a special system in his body that let him breathe salt. And isn't he actually a freshwater fish?
Nemo?
Yes.
Nemo's not freshwater. Clownfish are in the ocean. Yeah. Nemo, Dory, all those guys.
They have a special system, a special thing in their system.
They do.
To help them.
And that special system is what we're going to go over today. So they are what's called isotonic in water, in seawater. This means it prevents them from getting too much or too little salt into their bodies. So everything that lives in the ocean and that breathes in salt water, they have this isotonic system going on. And we're going to go over what isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic all mean. So like Evan was saying, let's say a dolphin, they swim inside the ocean, but they don't breathe the salt water in. They come out of the water to get oxygen. And there's some other animals who are like that. So kind of nifty. Has anyone heard of isotonic, hypertonic, or
Yes.
hypotonic? Do you remember what it means? Because I know I went over it a
I
little.
know an
Isotope, yep. That's kind of the same. Okay, it's not the same. Not really. It's the same concept, but it's not the same definition-wise. Courtney, you had your hand up. What were you going to say? You've heard of it? Yeah, I'm kind of. So that's my next slide is hypertonic, hypotonic, and isotonic. What's your guess of what isotonic means? Yeah, Madeline? Not quite. So think of the molecules. Are the molecules going to be the same number, or are they going to be a different number with isotonic? What do you think? It's not going to be less. It's either more or the same. It's going to be the same. Yep. So, and what that means with the salt particles is the salt particles outside, which is in the ocean, and then inside of the animal, the marine animals' breathing system, it is going to be the same. So they are not taking in too much salt, and they are not getting rid of too much salt. So it is a cool system that's going on that keeps it the same, keeps it at a level system, so it doesn't die. That is why we all know that there is no way a single-celled organism has evolved into a marine fish, a freshwater fish, and a human. It makes no sense. But don't get me off on that tangent. That's a story for another day. Okay. So isotonic. So two solutions that have equal number of molecules. So this middle one right here, get my handy dandy notebook, no, my laser pointer. So if you see right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the outside of the molecule. And then on the inside, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the inside. So you're gonna have the same number of molecules on the inside and outside. So that's gonna be an isotonic molecule or solution, depending on what you're working with. Hypotonic is when you have less dissolved molecules on the outside and more molecules on the inside. So right here, we only have one molecule on the outside of our cell or our solution. And then on the inside of our cell slash solution, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the inside. Okay, and then hypertonic, there's a ton of them. I'm not even gonna count all of those. On the outside, it's okay, you don't need to count. And then there's not as many on the inside.
20.
Is there 20?
23.
23?
There's 23 in all.
Pretty much 20. Oh, okay. So what do you think is an example of some organism, so like animal, fish, bacteria, whatever, has hypotonic breathing capabilities? Bless you. Do you think humans have a hypotonic respiratory system, isotonic, or hypertonic? Hypo, hyper, or isotonic? What do you think? Yeah, it's not isotonic. Hypo, yep, yep. I don't think I ended up putting that in my slideshow, but I won't end up asking you that because it's not in your book and it's not in my PowerPoint.
Dots, represent the molecules.
Huh?
All the little green dots represent the molecules.
Yeah, yep. And so like this example right here, this is actually pretty rare, hypertonic solutions. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. I should have put examples on here. I'm kind of mad at myself about that now. Okay. Yeah, I'll go yell at my former self. Okay. I know, way to go, Doomer. All right, process of diffusion and osmosis. So I have two slides of this. So process of diffusion and osmosis. For this slide, we only have you writing down what is diffusion and what is osmosis. Caleb, can you read me the definition of what diffusion is in your book? I think it's page 34. Is it 35? Okay, 35.
The diffusion of water through a membrane.
Yep. So the diffusion of water through a membrane. I don't like how they use diffusion for when it's already the name. What's the definition say?
The movement of particles from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower.
Okay, there we go. So you have something where you are moving particles through one solution, let's say the air, and then you're moving it into a different solution, which is your respiratory system, as an example. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So diffusion, it's moving from, let's say, the oxygen, so the air that we're breathing right now, and it's moving into your respiratory system, which is just you breathing in your lungs. Okay, and then osmosis, that was the one that Caleb read for us. So that is the diffusion of those particles. And I have a video to show how osmosis works. And it's actually a really cool video. I wanted to do a lab for it, but we don't have the type of solutions to do that. I'm sad. Okay, you guys got it? Okay, sweet. Okay, so same thing, process of diffusion and osmosis. So diffusion and osmosis, how are they similar? They are both passive transport processes. So they are acting to equalize the concentration of a solution. So what that means is saying that they are both trying to help your organism breathe without them not being able to breathe. And that's diffusion and osmosis. They are one of the number one reasons how and why you are breathing right now. So diffusion is the main transportation process, and it's also the slower process between the two because it's a very long, lengthened process compared to osmosis. Have you getting that written down?
I don't want to get
Okay.
The human.
That's funny. Okay, so here is a little example. I love watching these guys. I watch them on YouTube just periodically, the Quad Squad. Check them out.
Oh, I've seen these.
Okay, so cells depend on diffusion and osmosis. So cells use diffusion to move the substances, as we know. Oxygen, water, and carbon dioxide are moved around inside the cell because of diffusion. So as you saw in the egg, in that little video, the oxygen, it left the egg because of, what was the substance they put it in to get rid of the oxygen in the egg? You guys remember? That was, no, or yes, corn syrup. Yeah, corn syrup, yep. Yeah, they got rid of it with the corn syrup, which was the thicker substance. They were able to add more oxygen inside of it with vinegar. So water moves through the cell membrane by osmosis. That'd be terrible, right? That'd be so sad.
Just on accident, just those cracks of egg.
I know. Then you have a tiny little chicken.
There's like a dead bird.
The triangle is
That'd be terrible. Yeah.
Someone did that.
Really? Oh, poor penguin. Yeah.
Chicken and egg, and me and my mom got stuck with it, and I was making eggs one day.
Oh no. Oh no.
She had the lifeline.
Yep.
Alive? No, it was
No.
dead.
It was, yeah.
I remember one episode back in school bus, this little cracked an egg, and a chicken came out and just hopped away.
That's crazy. Okay.
I can't wait. I'm gonna feel bad for my babies because you can see actual chicken.
Oh, those kind of eggs, yeah.
And then I just don't want to burst bubble two lines out.
Yep. Yeah, there is no chicken inside store-bought eggs.
She won't eat eggs. She's like, ew, no.
Yeah, it's just the embryo of it. Okay, moving on to the last one. So cells must be small. Why are they small? We've kind of gone through this in other lessons, but cells must be small. This is because they rely on passive transport to bring materials they need to survive across the membrane. She's got her. So they must be small because they are relying on passive transport, and that passive transport is happening through osmosis and diffusion. That's to help us breathe through digestion, through respiration, perspiration, exercise, so many things, so many processes within our bodies. All right. We don't have time for this video. This is the least, this was the least important video. I was hoping we'd make it, but we didn't quite make it. So you can watch this one on your own time or not. I'm probably just gonna take it out of there. All right.